The moment the ceiling of the South Korean military base felt heavier, thousands of soldiers around the world fell silent because of one shocking news. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS who was undergoing mandatory military service, finally reappeared in public. Not through an official broadcast, nor in the form of military promotional content, but in a closed meeting that instantly cut through emotions. The question is, why could such a brief appearance make Jimin cry and armies from all over the world sob along? Jungkook's appearance was not just a military routine. He was present in a family and relative visit session that was very personal in nature and not open to the public. What made it extraordinary was the presence of Jimin, his bandmate and best friend, in the session. Their meeting was not planned as content or a form of fan service. This was purely a meeting of two souls who had long been separated by time, distance, and emotional burdens unseen by cameras. Internal witnesses described the moment their eyes met as an explosion in silence. Jungkook, known for his physical toughness and unwavering spirit, seemed to show his vulnerable side for the first time, while Jimin, usually calm and in control, couldn't hide his tears. They just looked at each other and hugged. Not much talking, but it was enough to make everyone who saw them silent, said a young officer who was present at the time. This reunion took place in a deafening silence, without camera flashes, without publicity. But that's where its strength lies. Because feelings that are not packaged for mass consumption are often the most authentic. In that embrace, there were unspoken burdens, a sense of guilt for not being able to be there for each other during difficult times, and a deep sense of relief at finally being able to confirm, "You're still here. I'm not alone." Shortly after this news spread informally through fan communities and social platforms like Twitter and TikTok, the digital world exploded. Hashtags like #WelcomeBackJungkook and #JiminCryForJK shot up to become global trending topics in minutes. Behind every post, there were cries, trembling voices, and empathetic comments from armies who felt the depth of the relationship between the two, even from snippets of stories. What makes this event even more emotional is the background that the public is not yet familiar with. Internal sources say that during training, Jungkook went through difficult phases. He seemed more withdrawn, not as cheerful as usual. Although he continued to perform his duties with discipline, there was a sparkle in him that slowly dimmed. Jimin, known for being very sensitive to the emotional changes of his group members, reportedly showed unusual signs of concern. Due to very limited communication in the military, they could barely keep each other updated. But the bond that had been forged for over a decade didn't need words to survive. So, when they were finally reunited, all the emotions that had built up for months seemed to spill out in one embrace that wasn't captured on camera, but was deeply etched in their hearts and those of the witnesses. This meeting wasn't about popularity. It wasn't a narrative designed to evoke. It was two human beings who had only been able to support each other silently, finally reunited. And for ARMY, it was enough to shake their world. But critical questions also arise. Amidst the overwhelming wave of emotion and virality, we have to ask, did all this really happen? The fact that there is no visual documentation, official statement from the agency, or authentic evidence makes this story feel more like a digital legend. So why do many believe it? The answer lies in mass psychology and confirmation bias. We want to believe. We want to be sure that behind all the harshness of the military world and public pressure, the members of BTS remain humans who love and need each other. That's why this narrative spreads like wildfire. Because it's not just about Jungkook and Jimin. It's about us, who yearn for moments of warmth, certainty, and honest emotional connection. But as consumers of information in the digital age, we also have a responsibility. Not to kill emotions, but to balance them with critical awareness. Who first spread the story? Where did the narrative of long hugs and Jimin crying come from? Is it really there, or just pieces of imagination processed by fans with good intentions but without verification? The Korean entertainment industry, like many other industries, understands the power of emotion in building loyalty. Emotional narratives are a powerful tool, and in the hiatus of public activity like mandatory military service, stories like this can keep public attention warm. But who really benefits? On the other hand, it cannot be denied that ARMY is one of the most dedicated and emotional communities in the world. They don't just idolize, they connect emotionally. They read body language, intonation, and silent language from every member of BTS. So when news like this comes up, it makes sense that the resonance is so strong. However, if we want to remain a healthy and empowered fandom, we must also learn to distinguish between real stories and constructed stories. We must be able to love without having to believe blindly. We must be able to cry with them while still asking, where did this story come from? Why did it come up now? What might be happening behind the scenes? To this day, there has been no official statement from Big Hit Music regarding this reunion news. No clarification, no confirmation, just silence. And maybe that's enough. Because in that silence, every fan fills the empty space with imagination and love. Whether it's real or not, this story has become part of the collective emotional journey that shows that love doesn't always need proof. Sometimes, it's enough to believe. But for the future of a healthy digital community, let's keep that spirit without losing our reason. The reunion of Jungkook and Jimin may have really happened. But even if it didn't, let this story be a reflection that even in a world full of noise, we can still feel something real, whether from an invisible embrace or from tears that were never captured on camera. Now, after the wave of emotion has begun to subside, one fundamental question arises that we cannot ignore. Did we truly witness a real event? Or are we simply swept away by a narrative that was constructed in such a way as to evoke emotion and steal attention? Amidst the torrent of information and the explosion of viral content, we need to stop for a moment, take a breath, and ask, what is really happening here? Let's evaluate. The information stating that Jungkook, BTS, and Jimin met in a private military visit session did not come from a press conference, not from an official statement from Big Hit Music, and was not accompanied by any visual evidence. There is no video, no photo, no official record. Everything we know, or feel we know, comes from snippets of posts on TikTok, anonymous posts on Twitter, lengthy comments on YouTube, and speculative conversations in fan community forums. So, the question is, why are we so sure that this event actually happened? Is it because we read a very touching narrative? Is it because we want to believe that behind all the military pressure and global fame, Jungkook and Jimin still need each other? Or are we falling victim to confirmation bias, a psychological tendency to believe information that aligns with what we want to hear? This doesn't mean that emotional moments like this are impossible. It's very possible. But amidst the flood of digital information shaped by algorithms and clickbait, the desire to believe often outweighs the need to verify. Do we really know who first spread this news? Is that account credible? Or just a fan account developing a narrative from pieces of collective imagination? We live in an age where content is currency and virality is power. The more emotional a story, the greater its chance of being shared, commented on, and believed, even without a factual foundation. So, who really benefits from a story like this? Is it the fans, who feel closer to their idols? Or content creators who get millions of views from their reaction videos? Or even the agency, which may have secretly allowed this narrative to develop to maintain public interest during the mandatory military service hiatus? It's time for us to ask, is the narrative that says Jimin cried in Jungkook's arms really accurate? Or just a line of dramatic sentences written very effectively to create the illusion of reality? What if the story is just a form of cloaked fanfiction disguised as news? Are we as readers able to distinguish between fact and emotion neatly packaged as reality? Furthermore, let's examine, why did this news come out now? Does it coincide with a strategic moment, such as a member's birthday, the entertainment company's financial report, or a significant moment in the K-pop world. In an entertainment world that is so organized and planned, nothing is truly coincidental.